Ladies and gentlemen, monsters and maniacs, my name is the Pumpkin Queen, and I want to welcome you all to my castle tonight. Or well, the castle gardens actually. I put up a little fireplace so we can all get cozy while we're here. And I want to wish you all a very happy Spooktober month. And a very happy Halloween, while we're at it. And because of the October month, I have a very special story in store for you tonight. So, let's get into it, shall we? The abandoned house in my neighborhood turned out to be haunted. I'm the type of person who likes going on long walks. I'm not the kind of person who will go out when it's dark and nobody's around. At least, not usually. But in the month of October and September, I like to go out at midnight to look at decorations. Not many people are out during that time, so it adds to the creepy factor. If I'm being honest, they were kind of a mixed bag. Some just got cheaply made inflatables from Walmart, and others completely decked out the houses for the holiday. Usually, most of the decorated houses I saw fell in between the two. I had gotten to the end of the neighborhood when I noticed something unusual. The house at the end was covered in Halloween decorations. You're probably wondering why that is unusual. Well, it's because the house had been abandoned for years. It had been that way ever since I moved in the neighborhood. It was a nice looking house. So, I found it odd that nobody wanted to live in it. I would have, but I didn't know about it until after I moved in, which bummed out at the time. Because it was much cheaper than I'd end up paying in rent. Unfortunately, I had signed a lease, which meant I wasn't able to move to it, even though I wanted to. However, looking back, I see that I was actually fortunate not to have lived there. I did some research and found out that a family had went missing there. It was a family of 4. Dad, daughter, mother and son. At first I thought that maybe they had moved and didn't want anybody to know about it. But I read that the neighbors who talked with them only days before they disappeared. They said that they seemed fine, so for them to just up and leave was strange. It happened 2 years before I moved to the neighborhood, and during those 2 years, I hadn't noticed anyone going anywhere near the house. In fact, they seemed nervous passing by it. I passed it on my walks, and while I did get weird feelings passing by, I never felt nervous. I thought about going up to it and taking a peek inside, but I was pretty sure that I'd be trespassing. By now, I was looking at it covered in Halloween decorations. I was out last night, and had passed it this morning. During those times, I hadn't seen anyone setting it up. Plus, who the hell would do it anyway? Anyone was afraid of the place. And like I said, the place didn't creep me out before. However, it started to then. Lifelike was how I described them. There were skeletons hanging from the yards. For a moment I thought they were real, and while they did look convincing, upon further expectation, I realized that they were fake. The house itself was covered in cobwebs, lights and spiders, and there was a sign on the front door, but it was too far away to read. Some of the cobwebs were covered in what I thought was fake blood at the time. In my opinion, it looked a bit corny, but I could tell whoever had decorated it had put a lot of effort into it, which I respected. However, one decoration in particular really creeped me out. It was the lawn decorations. Many mangled-looking zombies stood with their backs turned and hunched over, as if they were about to tear into someone. Curious, I went over to look, and who they were trying to get at shocked me. In the center were decorations that looked like the family that had gone missing. The faces conveyed absolute terror, and even though they had gone missing over 2 years ago, I still found this to be a bad taste. I was about to leave when I noticed that the sign on the door said, "Haunted House. Enter if you dare." Really? Is that the best they could come up with? I thought. Still, I figured I could at least humor them. I tried the doorknob and found that it was unlocked. Since the sign was up, I figured that they must have finished decorating, and that it was okay to go inside. I pushed the door open to find that inside of the house was decorated similar to the outside. The main difference was how the decorations were placed. Some stood on both sides of me, and others hung from the ceiling. All of them seemed to glare at me with the most hateful expression I had seen. I was genuinely impressed. So, is this supposed to be one of those maze deals? And why are you people at? Shouldn't it be an act or something? I wondered as I walked through it. A few minutes went by. I noticed something was off. The inside of the house seemed to be larger than the outside. I hadn't rounded many corners, so I wasn't going in circles, if that is what you're thinking. However, it was like the house was getting bigger the longer I spent in it. Soon I began to think that I'd spent a little too much time here, and seeing that it wasn't late, and that I had work in the morning, I turned around to head home. I thought it'd be a simple matter of heading the way back to find the front door. However, no matter how far I walked, I couldn't get to the front door. What the hell? I thought. I stopped to rest and consider my options. I could try to keep heading back, which didn't seem to be working. Or I could try to find the back door. It was when I was deciding between the two options that I realized something. The decorations were no longer where they had been before. While I was sitting, they looked as if they had moved closer. For a moment, I grew afraid, until a thought passed my mind. Of course, these decorations must be the actors. My fear subsided as I approached. I began telling what I thought were the actors, how they got me, and how spooked I was. I also asked them how to get out, and how they managed to pull off making the house seem bigger on the inside. And instead of a response, they continued to glare at me with those hateful expressions. I began to grow annoyed, and repeated that I needed to know how to get out. They just kept looking at me. I figured that they must be taking their roles too seriously. I wondered if I should be shaking one of them to break character. However, something told me that wouldn't be a smart idea. I decided that I should try to shove the house as quickly as possible. If that didn't work, I should just try a window, which I would have sooner, but I didn't see any. 10 minutes of walking took me to the kitchen, where, at last, I saw some windows. Unfortunately, they wouldn't open. Great, I thought. I considered breaking it. Then thought they'd be overreacting. After all, I wasn't really in danger at the point. But I was hungry. I checked the fridge on the off chance that there'd be some food from the actors. The only food I found was a bag of candy, which I know wasn't healthy, but I was hungry. While I ate some of it, I considered what I should do next. I'd passed some doors before. However, I didn't think they'd lead to any exits. I was considering the idea then though. I pocketed as much of the candy I could, then headed out of the kitchen while I was met with a shock. The actors were waiting outside. I rolled my eyes. Oh yeah, real mature. I tried walking past them, but one grabbed me. Irritated, I asked if they were finally willing to drop the act and show me the way out. They just kept glaring at me, and the one who was holding me, the grip tightened. The thing is, the grip felt solid, like stone. My wrists started to ache the harder he got, I should say it, squeezed. "Let me go!" I shouted, trying to pull free, but he wouldn't budge. I started panicking, trying to find a way to get free. I felt my wrists starting to crack, and the pain was nearly unbearable. It went on like this for several seconds, until my eyes fell on the switch hanging from the ceiling. The attic door? When the fuck did I go upstairs? I wondered. I quickly pushed the thought out of my mind and grabbed the switch. I'm tall, so reaching it wasn't a problem. I pulled it hard, almost breaking it. I ducked as the door came down. It slammed the actor on the head, causing him to release me. I ran past the others before they could grab me. My first thought was to find some stairs, but I was unsuccessful. On top of that, those things were chasing me. How the fuck do I get out of here? I thought. Every room I searched had more of those things inside them. Soon they were coming out of the rooms, chasing after me. Surely, after I was surrounded, and the thought of my fate was sealed. That was until I heard a voice tell them to stop. I looked to see the family, the one that went missing, standing past them. "What is going on?" I demanded. "How did you get in here?" the mom asked in response. I was irritated that my question wasn't being answered, but I explained to them how I came into my current predicament. "We see. How unfortunate," the dad said. "How? You guys have been missing for 2 years. This is great. Everyone will be relieved to see you guys safe. We wish that was the case. We really do, but we can never leave here. I'm sure you saw the decorations that look like us, correct?" "Yeah. Well, they were us at one time." "Wait, what happened?" "We'll tell you. Did you know that we used to have the best decorated house for Halloween?" I shook my head. Nobody ever mentioned that. "Well, it's true. For 10 years we were number 1. "Oh, yeah, the Halloween decoration competition." He nodded. "Yes, we were on top until 4 years ago. New people arrived in the neighborhood, and the decorations outshined ours. We tried keeping up, but we couldn't. We ended up in dead last for 2 years in a row. We decided that we couldn't let it happen again. No matter again. I'm starting to think you guys overreacted. I mean, it's cool to be number 1 at something like this, but it's not that big of a deal. To us, it was. It's something our family took pride in. So, what's with the decorations? Why did they attack me? They're cursed. We found them at an old antique shop. And nobody told you they were cursed. Not a word. We did find it odd that they gave us such a good deal on them. But we were eager for some good decorations to show everyone up that we didn't think too much of it. What happened after you got them? Well, nothing at first. However, a few days after we got them, we noticed strange things happening. They'd never been where we left them. We found this odd, but didn't think too much of it. We just figured that one of us had been moving them and not telling the others, or forgetting to. Then one night, our kids claimed they saw them move. I didn't believe them at first. That is until my wife and I saw them move with our own eyes. We attempted to escape. It couldn't because of our house changed. Whatever curse had been brought with my decorations had seeped into our home, and it wouldn't let us escape. I wish I had believed my kids. We might not have been able to escape. What did they do to you all? The mom spoke again. They killed us, ripped us apart, and now we are part of the decorations. Really? Because you look fine to me. They lifted his shirts to reveal gaping wounds in the stomachs. The mother motioned for the kids to turn around and saw that the back of the heads had been smashed in. My blood ran cold when I saw this. Now we can't ever leave, the mother said. Look, I'm really sorry about all that, but can you tell me how to get out? She shook her head. You can't leave either. We need you. Fuck no. Let me out. You see, the reason we stopped them from killing you is so we could. After our deaths, we saw things beyond the grave. I found out that we just needed someone to take our place. Everyone just avoided the house until you came along. Thank you for that. So now, we just have to kill you ourselves. Otherwise we'll be stuck here. And we wouldn't want that, she smiled. I bolted. I heard them giving orders from the decorations to capture me. Before long, I heard them running behind me. I had no idea what to do, so I just dashed to the closest room, hoping it'd be free from those things. I found myself back in the kitchen, and heard that they were close by. Don't resist. It won't hurt that much, I heard the mother call. I scrambled to find something I could use to break the window, but I couldn't find anything. That is, until I searched the cabinets. I found a wrench that must have been left behind. I wasted no time smashing the window with it. Just as they came in, family was at the front. No, don't go, the father yelled. We can't stay here, the mother said. Grab him. I leaped out of the window just as they tried to grab me. I landed hard on the lawn. Thankfully, It was the first floor, so other than some cuts, I didn't sustain any injuries. I shakily got to my feet and heard someone yelling at me. "What the hell are you doing?" a man yelled at me. "Huh?" I asked, confused. That haunted house wasn't ready yet. Why did you go in? I saw a sign that I should enter. Who are you? He explained that he was a haunted house enthusiast and loved making his home. Apparently, he had it decorated early today. Impressive, he was able to get it done in a short time period. I'm guessing that he had a lot of help. Wait, since you were in there, how would you rate it? 10 out of 10? I replied, then went home without another word. After my lease is up, I'm going to move as far away as possible from that house. As I post this, I want to give you all a word of advice. If you see people avoiding a place, it may be for a good damn reason.